Hello my crafty friends, this is Monica from Allsewpetite. Welcome back to my channel. In this video series I will demonstrate how to make the Stevie unisex crossbody bag. This is an intermediate pattern, or for anyone who is comfortable sewing zips, maybe a curved seams, and also a binding, which you can find inside the bag. To make this bag, you will have to purchase the pattern from my website. I will include the link to the pattern and all supplies I used in this tutorial in the description box below this video. In this first video, I will quickly explain how to print and assemble the pattern, what supplies you need to make the Stevie crossbody bag, and we'll quickly walk you through the cutting and interfacing instructions. But before we begin, let me show you all the details of the bag up close. Stevie bag features a front zipper pocket with a built-in slip pocket and 4 card slot pockets. There is a handle on top, so you can grab your bag with ease, and side connectors where you can attach the adjustable crossbody strap. The main compartment is secured with a top zipper closure and is spacious enough to hold a small book, wallet, phone or umbrella. In addition, you will find a slip and zipper pockets inside the lining. They are perfect to store small items and to stay organized on the go. Plus a small connector for your keys, so you don't have to look for them at the bottom of the bag. The bag is fully lined and edges are finished with a bias tape. Whatever the occasion, casual or formal, you can carry your belongings in style with this fashionable unisex crossbody bag. If you want to learn how to make the Stevie unisex crossbody bag with me, then keep on watching. Before you print all the pages, I would recommend printing the page with the Test Me calibration square. You can see it here. Measure it, and only then, if your printer settings are correct, you can print the remaining pages. Some pattern pieces are larger than one page, so you're going to have to glue 2 or more pages together to assemble individual pattern piece. As you see on this example here, you will find triangles along the page margins. To assemble the pattern correctly, I would trim one page along the page margin, then overlap the pages and line up those 2 triangles to create a diamond shape. When you do, make sure that the corresponding letter and numbers inside the triangle are exactly the same, so you don't mix the pages by accident. As you see here, I have 1A and 1A in both triangles, and if, for example, by mistake I took a wrong page, this one has 1C, so I know those 2 pages should not go together. Once you assemble all pattern pieces, then you can cut them out. To complete today's project, you will need some external fabric and lining fabric. In today's tutorial, I'm going to mix this cotton fabric with the faux leather on the external portion of my bag, and I'm going to use this waterproof canvas. I have 2 different ones. This colorful one is going to go as an accent for my pockets, and this plain white one is going to go on the main compartment of my lining. Depending on which type of fabric you're using, you might need to interface your fabric with some woven interfacing, especially if you're using something like quilting cotton, some sort of stretchy fabric, or fabric that tends to fray a lot. For my project today, I did interface the entire wrong side of my woven fabric first before I cut it out, because I found this method much easier. And because I'm using faux leather and waterproof canvas, I am not going to interface those fabric. However, because they are lightweight, I need to use some sort of stabilizer so my bag can have nice structure when it's finished. Because in this pattern I'm using binding to cover raw edges, and I wanted to make sure it is domestic machine friendly, I recommended using less thick fabrics and medium weight stabilizers to make sure that your machine can sew through all the layers. Instead of using fusible stabilizers such as Decovil Light or maybe fusible fleece, I am going to use sewing foam stabilizer today, so I'm going to do it a little bit different than the information provided in the sewing instructions, just to show you that it is possible. You will also need 2 number 5 zippers and 1 number 3 zipper. The length is provided in the sewing instructions. And if, like me, you are using a metal zipper today, you might need some pliers to remove the zipper teeth so you don't sew it through. And I like to have a lighter on hand so I can burn the edges of my zippers to stop them from fraying. A ruler to take some measurements, 2 D-rings, 1 strap adjuster and 2 swivel hooks for the strap, and also a 1/2 inch or slightly smaller swivel hook for the key connector. You might want to add some woven label to inside of your bag, or maybe a metal tag to the outside. This is optional, but I'm going to use rivets today, so I'll need a hole puncher and something to set those in. So today I'm using my hand press. You will also need your favorite marking tools, some pins and clips to hold the fabric in place, scissors, snips. A seam ripper is always good to have on hand in case if something goes wrong. And I like to have an owl, hump jumper and a corner shaper tools to help me out with those more tricky parts. We'll need a bias tape to cover the raw edges. And also a double-sided tape might be useful today. If you are working with the woven fabric, you might want to also use a fray stop glue if you are adding a metal tag to your bag. Once you print your pattern pieces and you are ready to cut them out, pay attention to the informations provided on the pattern itself and also in the sewing instructions, to make sure you cut all the pattern pieces correctly. For example, some of the pattern pieces have those wavy lines to show you that you have to extend the pattern piece as indicated on the pattern label. On the front and back piece, you will find a marking with the little scissors here, which means you need to cut it out as indicated on the pattern label. So I have my external front and back pieces cut out. As you see, the front piece has the middle part missing. What I like to do is to cut it out along the side and the top, and then I leave one side still attached so I can just fold it away. Then I can just mark my pattern piece and cut it out. This way I don't lose that center piece when I want to cut my back piece or the lining. So you also need to cut entire back piece from external fabric, and then one front and one back from your lining fabric. Then you have to cut 2 pieces for the handle. When you take your pattern piece, you will notice that there is a dashed line indicating that you need to fold the pattern along that line and cut 1 piece shorter. The shorter piece is the one that it's going to be on top, so I like to use an accent fabric for this. And then the other one you cut it out normally. You need to cut 2 pieces for your strap, both from external fabric. Again, I like to use 1 piece for the accent. However, if you want to use the same fabric on both pieces, you need to cut 1 front pocket from external fabric and 2 pieces from your lining fabric. Cut 1 gusset from your external fabric and 1 from your lining fabric. 1 front zipper casing from your external fabric and 1 from your lining fabric. 1 back zipper casing from your external fabric and 1 from your lining. 1 zipper pocket from your lining fabric. 1 card slot piece from your lining fabric. 1 slip pocket from your lining fabric. 2 strap connectors from your external fabric. 2 zipper tabs from external fabric and 2 from your lining fabric. 1 key connector from your lining fabric. 1 pocket trim from non-fraying fabric, and also 1 pocket overlay, again from non-fraying fabric. It is a good practice to mark midpoints on all your pattern pieces and any other markings, such as those handle placement markings, or for example, a note that this is a zipper seam. Majority of time you would have to mark those markings on the wrong side of the fabric. However, for the handle, you'll need to mark it on the right side of your external piece. So I have marked already my fabric here. What I like to do, similar to the front piece, I like to cut out the window and just bend it over so I don't lose the piece. You can just place it on top, line it up, and then trace the position of the window. If you haven't printed the pattern, you can draw a rectangle that is 2.5 cm by 3, and you measure 2 cm from the bottom seam and 6.5 cm from the side seams. The handle placement isn't exactly centered, that's why this is important, and for that reason I also noted that this bottom seam here is the zipper seam. So make sure you mark it on your pattern piece so you know which side to attach the zipper to. I made a little note on the wrong side of the fabric here. So I wrote a zipper so I know this is the side where my zipper will be attached to. You will also find information to mark lines on the wrong side of your card slot piece. The measurements are provided in the sewing instructions. Once you cut your fabric, if you need to interface it with some woven interfacing, apply that woven interfacing to the wrong side of the fabric first, and then you can stabilize the external pattern pieces. So if you are using fusible stabilizer, such as fusible fleece or Decovil Light, you can cut out your stabilizer and then stabilize the wrong side of the fabric as recommended in the sewing instructions. However, because I am using sew-in foam stabilizer today, I'm going to do it a little bit different. To reduce the bulk at the seams, I still use the dotted lines on the pattern pieces as a template for my stabilizers. So I've cut my stabilizer without the seam allowance. However, because I'm using the sew-in stabilizer, I'm not going to fuse them to my external pieces now. I'm going to add the stabilizer to my bag as I go. Instead of cutting the front stabilizer the same as my pattern piece, I cut it out as a whole piece as I would do on the back. So I have two pieces the same for the front and the back. So this way I don't have to stabilize one of my lining front pockets. I am, however, going to fuse very lightweight fusible fleece to the external front pocket because I am using this cotton fabric and it's quite lightweight, so I want just a little bit more body. I have cutted my fusible fleece and I'm going to fuse it now to the back of my fabric. For the remaining external pieces, I also cut out my stabilizer without the seam allowance, as you see. And because I don't want to use any glue or spray adhesive, and I cannot really base the stabilizer around the pattern piece as you would do if you cut it out the same size, I am going to add them to the back as I go. I did, however, apply small piece of Decovil Light on the back of my back zipper casing, just behind those handle placement markings. So once I attach my handle, I have enough stability here. I also added small piece of Decovil Light on my strap connectors. And as you've seen before, I added small strips of Decovil Light on my card slot piece, as recommended in the sewing instructions. Join me in the next video if you are ready to begin making your own version of the Stevie unisex crossbody bag. In the second video, we are going to make the adjustable strap and the lining slip and zipper pockets. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Stay crafty, friends.